So Jake, thanks for coming in today. To start, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. Well, I was born in a small town. I really love pizza, I have a cat named Barnaby, and I also studied business in college.
Stop right there. If you start a job interview like that, you are already in trouble.
Wait, you asked about me. Barnaby is a very important part of my life.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Everyday English Learning, your guide to confident, natural conversations.
Hi there, I'm Jake.
And I'm Lily. Today, we are saving you from the interview panic zone.
Yes, we are talking about job interviews. Specifically, the most terrifying first question. Tell me about yourself.
It sounds so simple, but it makes almost everyone freeze. People get nervous, they ramble, or they just read their resume out loud.
Okay, I feel personally attacked. But it is so true. You want to sound professional, but you just end up talking in circles.
Exactly. So today, we are going to fix that. We will give you a simple 3-part framework that works for almost any job.
No more rambling. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly how to start strong, sound natural, and clearly show your value.
But first, we need to understand why we get this question so wrong. What is the interviewer actually asking when they say those 5 words?
That is the real secret. Because they definitely do not want to know about your cat, no matter how cute he is.
Exactly. Barnaby the cat is great for a coffee chat, but not for a job interview. When they say, "Tell me about yourself," they are not asking for your autobiography.
Then why is it always the first question? Honestly, it feels like a trap, like they are just waiting for you to say something weird.
It is not a trap, I promise. Think of it as a strategic warm-up. The interviewer is trying to answer 2 basic questions. First, are you relevant to this specific role?
Okay, that is a fair question. And what is the second one?
Second, what is it like to communicate with you? Are you going to be exhausting to talk to every day?
Ouch! Exhausting to talk to? That is a really harsh way to put it.
It sounds harsh, but it is true. When you ask an open-ended question, you see exactly how someone organizes their thoughts. If you ramble, they assume you will ramble in team meetings.
That makes sense. You are saying they are testing my communication style, not just checking my historical facts.
Yes. The most common mistake people make is treating this question like a chronological biography. They start at the beginning of time and list every single job.
Okay, I have definitely done that. I panicked in my first interview and said, well, I was born in Ohio, and then I was a barista, and then it was terrible.
Oh no. I can just imagine the interviewer slowly falling asleep.
I saw their eyes glaze over. It is boring to listen to, and honestly, boring to say out loud.
Because they already have your resume right in front of them. They want the highlight reel, not the unedited director's cut.
The highlight reel. I really like that phrase. It sounds much more natural than an elevator pitch, which always feels like I am trying to sell a used car.
Right. You do not need to sound like a desperate salesperson. You just need to tailor your answer to the specific job you are interviewing for.
Tailor your answer, meaning you adjust what you say so it fits perfectly, just like a tailor adjusts a suit to fit your body.
Exactly. You are curating your experience. If you are applying for a design job, They do not need to know you were the president of the chess club 10 years ago.
Unless I somehow designed the chessboards. So, no life stories, no pets, and no reading the resume from top to bottom.
Correct. We want to clear away the clutter. When you start an interview with a focused answer, you actually put the interviewer at ease.
I want to be the person who puts the interviewer at ease. Usually, we are both just sweating across the table from each other in awkward silence.
That is exactly why having a framework is so powerful. It gives your nervous brain a safe path to follow when the adrenaline hits.
But here is my big objection, Lily. What if someone does not have a decade of impressive work experience? Or what if they are changing careers entirely?
That is a very common worry. People think that if they skip the long life story, they will not have anything impressive left to say.
Exactly. If I am fresh out of college, my highlight reel might feel awfully short. If I only stick to the relevant facts, my answer might be finished in 10 seconds.
It is a common worry, Jake. It feels like if you only stick to the relevant facts, your highlight reel might only be 10 seconds long.
Exactly. If I was just pouring coffee for 2 years while I studied, how do I show any professional value?
By using a specific structure to organize your thoughts. Are you ready for the 3-part framework?
I have my invisible notebook ready. What is the secret formula?
It is very simple. Present, past, and future.
Present, past, future. Wait, why present first? Usually, people start with the past.
Starting with the present is the key to sounding confident. It immediately tells the interviewer who you are right now.
Okay, that logic makes sense. And then you step back into the past to show how you got there?
Exactly. You briefly explain your past experience. Finally, you pivot to the future and explain why you want this specific job.
That brings them right up to speed. But can we test this?
Let's do a role play. You are a recent college graduate who worked as a barista. You are applying for a marketing position.
Got it. I will try the framework.
I am the hiring manager. So, Jake, tell me about yourself.
Well, right now I am a barista. Before that, I studied communications. In the future, I want to do marketing, so that is why I am here.
Okay, let's pause. You followed the steps, but how did that feel to say?
It felt incredibly robotic, like I was reading off a boring grocery list. I literally bored myself halfway through.
It was a little dry. You gave me the facts, but you forgot the connective tissue. You need to focus on your transferable skills.
Transferable skills. Those are the general abilities you develop in one situation that you can take with you to a completely different industry.
Exactly. You did not just pour coffee. You managed upset customers. You organized inventory. And you stayed calm under intense pressure.
That is true. I was essentially a daily crisis negotiator during the morning rush.
See, that is highly relevant. Now, you need a smooth way to transition from the past to the future. Here is a great reusable sentence model.
Oh, I am ready. What is the model?
My background is in blank, but what I am most excited about now is blank.
Let me write that down. My background is in customer service, but what I am most excited about now is applying those skills to a marketing role.
Let's try the role play one more time. Focus on the value you bring to the table. Action.
Right now, I am a recent communications graduate. While studying, I worked in a high-volume coffee shop. I learned how to communicate clearly under pressure.
Perfect present and past. Now pivot to the future.
My background is in customer service, but what I am most excited about now is applying those fast-paced communication skills to a creative marketing team like yours.
And scene. That was fantastic.
Wow, that actually felt completely different. I did not sound like I was apologizing for being a barista. I sounded purposeful.
You took control of the narrative. You clearly showed what you bring to the table, which means the value or skills you offer to the company.
I love this framework. Present, past, future. It seems absolutely foolproof.
It is very reliable for a standard career path, but it does have a weakness.
What? Oh no! Just when I thought I was safe. What is the limitation?
The framework relies on a logical progression. But what if your past does not make perfect sense? What if you have a massive gap in your resume?
That is the ultimate nightmare scenario. If my resume has a huge hole in it, I feel like I have to explain everything to them.
It feels like a nightmare, but a resume gap is actually incredibly common. Almost nobody has a perfectly straight line on their resume anymore.
I know it is common, but sitting in that chair, you feel like a criminal confessing to a crime. Yes, I admit it. I did not work in 2023.
Exactly. People start acting guilty. When you apologize for your past, the interviewer instantly gets suspicious.
So if my logical present, past, and future story is broken by a year of unemployment, how do I bridge that gap without sounding defensive?
You build the bridge by using the word intentional. You have to frame your gap as a conscious choice, or at least a period of active growth, rather than a failure.
Frame the gap, meaning the way you present the information changes how people see it. Like putting a nice wooden frame around a strange painting.
Yes, exactly. Let's look at a bad example. Imagine you took a year off to care for a sick family member. If you say, "I could not work because my mom was sick, so I have just been at home," what does that signal?
It signals that your career stopped. It sounds a bit passive, even though caring for family is incredibly hard work and nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. It lacks professional energy. Instead, you need to own the gap and show forward momentum. You use a phrase like, "I took some time away to..."
I took some time away. That sounds so much better than "I was unemployed." It sounds like I was the person in charge of the decision.
Because you are the author of your own story. You could say, "I took some time away to support my family. During that time, I learned how to manage complex schedules. Now I am ready to dive back in."
That is brilliant. You acknowledge the gap, you highlight a soft skill, and then you immediately pivot back to the future.
Exactly. And what if you were laid off? Let's say your company closed down and you spent 6 months looking for a job. Do not give them a sad story about the economy.
Right. Nobody wants to hire someone who is complaining about their old boss in the first 5 minutes.
You could say, "After my last company closed, I deliberately paused to find a role that truly fits my skills. While searching, I took an online course in digital marketing."
I deliberately paused. Wow. That makes me sound like a wise philosopher instead of a panicked job seeker.
Okay, that made me laugh. You do not need to be a philosopher, but you do need to show forward momentum. You are moving toward them, not running away from your past.
Forward momentum. I like that distinction. So even if I am answering a question about my past, I am still steering the conversation toward the future value I can bring.
Precisely. You are connecting the dots for them. If you do not connect the dots, the interviewer will just guess what happened, and human beings usually guess the negative.
Nobody wants a negative guess. So, the framework is present, past, future. And if there is a gap, we frame it intentionally and keep that forward momentum.
That is the complete strategy. But knowing the perfect words is only half the battle. The other half is how you physically deliver those words when your heart is beating fast.
Oh, you mean the sweating, the shaking hands, and the sudden urge to run out of the room? Yes, we definitely need a strategy for the physical panic.
The physical panic is completely normal, Jake. Your brain genuinely thinks you are in danger when three strangers are staring at you across a table.
It certainly feels like danger. My heart beats so fast, and suddenly I forget my own name, let alone my present, past, and future.
That is the exact freeze response we mentioned earlier. To fix it, you need a physical technique before you open your mouth. I call it ground and slow.
Ground and slow. Honestly, that sounds like a method for brewing coffee.
Maybe it is. But for interviews, it means two actions. First, ground yourself by planting both feet flat on the floor. Second, purposely speak your first sentence 10% slower than your normal speed.
10% slower. I suppose when you are nervous, you naturally speak too fast, which just makes you sound panicked.
Exactly. Rushing signals panic. When you slow down your first sentence, you tell your nervous system you are safe. Let's test it. Give me your present sentence intentionally slow.
Okay, feet flat on the floor. Deep breath. Right now, I am a recent communications graduate, looking to bring my skills to a fast-paced agency.
That was excellent. You sounded incredibly authoritative. So, let's synthesize the whole system.
I am ready. The complete strategy to survive the hardest interview question.
Step 1. Ground and slow. Step 2. State your present situation. Step 3. Give your past highlight reel. Step 4. Pivot to the future with forward momentum.
It sounds manageable when you break it down. But what if the worst happens? What if my mind just goes completely blank halfway through?
If you lose your place, do not panic and do not ramble. You use a recovery phrase to jump straight to the final step.
A recovery phrase. Give me one, please. I will definitely need it.
You smile and say, but to keep things brief, what I am most excited about now is this specific role.
But to keep things brief, that is a brilliant emergency exit. It sounds like you stopped on purpose to respect their time.
Exactly. Now, I want our listeners to practice this right now. If you are listening, we want you to build your own present sentence.
Yes, do not just listen to us passively. Think about who you are right now, professionally.
I will give you a sentence frame. I will say the first part, and you fill in the blank out loud. Ready? Right now, I am...
Right now, I am... Tell us who you are.
Great. Practicing that one sentence out loud builds muscle memory. It gives you an anchor when the adrenaline hits.
I feel so much more prepared. I have a structure, a physical anchor, and an emergency exit. And most importantly, I know not to mention Barnaby the cat.
Exactly. Barnaby stays at home. By doing this, you instantly prove you are relevant, and you prove you are an excellent communicator.
It is like a magic trick. But wait, Lily, before I go to my next interview, we need to review the specific vocabulary phrases we used today. Are we doing that next?
Yes, we are, Jake. It is time for meaning moments. This is where we review the specific language you need to sound professional and confident.
I have my invisible notebook ready again. What is our first vocabulary phrase?
Our first phrase is highlight reel. We used this to describe how much past experience you should actually share.
Right. They want the highlight reel, not the unedited director's cut. A highlight reel is a short collection of the best or most important parts of something.
Exactly. Instead of listing every job you have ever had, you only share the most impressive and relevant moments. Repeat. Let me share a quick highlight reel of my background.
Let me share a quick highlight reel of my background.
Excellent. Number 2 is transferable skills.
Ah, yes. These are the general abilities you learn in one job that are still useful in a completely different industry, like communication, organization, or problem solving.
Perfect definition. If you are changing careers, transferable skills are your best friend. Repeat. My transferable skills make me a great fit for this position.
My transferable skills make me a great fit for this position. I really like how professional that sounds. What is number 3?
Number 3 is the word intentional. We talked about being intentional when explaining a gap in your resume.
Meaning you made a deliberate choice. You were not just passively waiting around, even if you were looking for work.
Yes, it shows you are in control of your career path, not a victim of circumstance. Let's practice. Repeat. I was intentional about taking time away.
I was intentional about taking time away.
Number 4 is a phrase connected to that resume gap. Forward momentum.
Forward momentum. That is the feeling of moving ahead, making progress toward the future, instead of just dwelling on your past history.
Precisely. In an interview, you always want to show forward momentum by bringing the conversation back to the specific job you are applying for. Repeat. I want to maintain my forward momentum.
I want to maintain my forward momentum.
And our last term is ground yourself. This was the physical technique we discussed to stop the interview panic.
To ground yourself means to make yourself feel calm, stable, and connected to the present moment, usually by focusing on your physical body, like putting both feet flat on the floor.
Yes, it quickly stops the freeze response in your brain. Repeat. I need to take a moment to ground myself.
I need to take a moment to ground myself. Okay, those 5 items are incredibly solid, but you also promised me some sentence upgrades.
I did. It is time for Say It Better. I will give you a common, weak sentence, and you upgrade it using our framework. Are you ready?
I am ready. Give me the weak sentence.
Instead of saying, I was just a barista, say it better.
My background is in customer service.
Great. Instead of saying, I want this job because it pays well, say it better.
What I am most excited about now is bringing my skills to this specific role.
Spot on. Instead of saying, I could not find a job last year, say it better.
I took some time away to intentionally focus on my next career step.
Fantastic. And finally, if you completely lose your train of thought, instead of rambling or apologizing, say it better.
But to keep things brief, what I am most excited about now is this opportunity.
Perfect emergency exit. You sound so much more capable with those subtle upgrades.
I honestly feel more capable. It is amazing how much the structure does the heavy lifting for you.
It really does. Now, let's do a short guided practice for our listeners. We are going to practice the transition from the past to the future.
This is the pivot. The most important bridge in your entire answer.
Exactly. Listeners, I want you to speak out loud with us. We will use the sentence frame, my background is in blank, but what I am most excited about now is blank.
Okay, I will play the role of a former teacher applying for a corporate training job.
Good scenario. First, state your background out loud. My background is in education.
My background is in education.
Now add the pivot and state your excitement for the new role. But what I am most excited about now is corporate training.
But what I am most excited about now is corporate training.
Let's put it all together into one smooth sentence. Go ahead, Jake.
My background is in education, but what I am most excited about now is corporate training.
Excellent. Listeners, try to build your own sentence using that exact structure. Fill in the blanks with your own experience and your own goals.
My background is in your field, but what I am most excited about now is the new role. Take a second and say it out loud wherever you are listening.
That single sentence will save you from so many awkward ramblings. You are acknowledging your past while pointing directly at the value you can bring tomorrow.
It feels like a communication superpower. I am actually looking forward to my next interview just so I can use it.
Well, Jake, we have officially escaped the interview panic zone.
We really have. I feel so much better, and I promise, the next time someone asks me to tell them about myself, I will leave Barnaby the cat out of it.
I think Barnaby will understand. Instead, you can rely on the present, past, and future framework to give them your professional highlight reel.
Exactly. I will remember to ground myself, slow down my first sentence, and show that forward momentum.
And if you have a gap in your resume, just frame it as an intentional pause. You are the author of your own story.
The biggest takeaway for me is that pivot sentence. My background is in customer service, but what I am most excited about now is this new role.
It is a brilliant tool. In fact, that is our question for you today. We want you to practice right now in the comments.
Yes. Write your own pivot sentence below. Tell us your background and tell us what you are excited about next. We read every single one.
And if you found this framework helpful, please subscribe and share this episode with a friend who is job hunting. It really helps the channel grow.
Interviews are stressful, but with a little structure, you can actually enjoy showing them the value you bring to the table.
That is the perfect way to look at it. Remember, an interview is not an interrogation. It is just a conversation about your future. Thank you for joining us on Everyday English Learning. I'm Lily.
And I'm Jake.
We will see you next time.
Good luck on your next interview, everyone.